I want to start with, how did this like come to you, this whole universe that you're building?
It's a good question. I was sending my music off to various people, various managers, various, labels. And I kept on, getting the same response, like, hey, this is cool music, but what does this have to do with your name or your brand? And then COVID hit and I was like, you know what, this is a perfect time as any. Let's, buckle down and try to come up with something new and exciting. And then I went to sleep that night, and this is going to sound really cheesy, but like this whole idea kind of just like filled my head. I woke up at like 3 a.m., pulled my phone out, grabbed the notes, and started like typing away. I thought I could not only express my art in my music, but like through like the art of like storytelling and, trying to create this crazy world that maybe hopefully people could escape to in this crazy time of like quarantine.
Welcome to the Free Yourself podcast. My name is Ryan Janni, and I am naked. And today I am so grateful to have my amazing friend, BAD PROXY, on the podcast. And before we get started, I have to say, for anybody that does not know who BAD PROXY is, this man has been coming out with the most insane midtempo / dubstep / industrial / what was cyberpunk music over the last, what is it now? Almost the last year?
6 months.
6 months, dude.
Yeah.
And not just that, like the amount of time, because like it feels like I've known you for so long, even though it's only been, like we said, a year and a half since a certain alter ego did the Free Yourself podcast.
Previous ELYS.
But
it's a pleasure to be here.
Dude, I'm so blown away by everything you've been able to do. Your branding, your content, your music, you're freaking the cutest puppy in the freaking world. Oh man, it's so good to have you back here on the Free Yourself podcast, brother.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So we got to talk about your team, the hyphen, and your branding, because it's a very, very special time in the life of BAD PROXY, because right now we have the release of your first signed track coming out. The accumulation of all this hard work has been to get to this next chapter, this next, step in the career of BAD PROXY. So because there's going to be, people like my mom that are going to be listening to this, that are going to, they want to know like the story behind this. Right. And so I want to start with, how did this like come to you, this whole universe that you're building?
So it's a good question. Ironically, the last track that I just put out, titled Splitting Worlds, which came out on the 27th, was the first track that I ever made with the idea kind of in the back of my head as, maybe I should change names. Maybe I should do a different project. I didn't have a name at that point yet. The name of that track, Splitting Worlds, its first track, or its first name in the project file, was actually BAD PROXY. So, like you said, I was previously working on a different alias. I don't want to touch too much on that, but over kind of when quarantine started, I was sending my music off to various people, various managers, various, labels. And I kept on, getting the same response, like, hey, this is cool music, but, what does this, have to do with your name or your brand? Or what does your name mean? And I did not have a good answer for them. So one guy actually kind of said, "Hey, well, have you ever thought of doing a rebrand?" And I said, "Yeah, well, I've thought about it, but what would the next chapter be? What would the next step be? Would I lose followers? Would people not understand the next move or chapter in my project's evolution?" So those were all kind of like things that were preventing me from pulling the trigger. And then COVID hit, and I was like, you know what? This is a perfect time as any. Let's buckle down and try to come up with something new and exciting, and something that not only that people could resonate with, but something that told a story, had characters, and an evolving story, something that could be never ending or ever growing. So what had happened was I took that name from that song, and I was like, okay, this is a cool name. Bad Proxy. Proxy is a stand-in, a messenger, ambassador of sorts. Like if you were to vote by proxy, that means like, you're giving someone else your vote, and you're voting through them, or acting, through someone else. So I was like, all right, that's cool. And proxy also doubles as like a certain type of like malware. Like, I'm not sure if you ever like Google something, it's like error bad proxy, and you don't get to the website. So I was like, all right, this is kind of a cool concept. My music's kind of like this industrial glitch kind of vibe. So, okay, I had a name at that point. And then I went to sleep that night, and this is going to sound really cheesy, but like this whole idea kind of just like filled my head. I woke up at like 3 a.m., pulled my phone out, grabbed the notes, and started like typing away, started like writing down a bunch of different like names for this main character, had like 20 different things, and then kind of like an overarching theme or story. And then, I thought to myself, okay, well, take artists. A lot of artists have like their stick, right? So it's like you got Slushy, he's got the Slushy, you got Marshmallow, you got the Marshmallow, you got the Excision, he's got the T-Rex, Jaws, the shark. So I was like, all right, cool. Everyone's got this like mascot thing, right? If you will. So why not take that mascot and like develop a story around it, so the brand's kind of like about him and not so much about me, because it's a lot easier to buy into an idea or a story when you're like, reading about it and looking at these characters and relating to them, and as opposed to like trying to sell myself as a person. Not saying that like that wouldn't work, but that's kind of the whole reason why I wanted to go that direction, just because like I thought I could not only express my art in my music, but like through like the art of like storytelling and, trying to create this crazy world that maybe hopefully people could escape to in this crazy time of like quarantine. So that's kind of like the backstory and development of like how the whole proxy idea came to like fruition. And then once I had like the name Eon, the name Bad Proxy, then I started to like, okay, let me pull up like Google, Word document and just start like regurgitating everything that I remember in my dream and take it as far as I could go. And then just keep fucking writing stories and chapters and stuff. And then once I had chapters like 1 through 5 or 1 through 6, that's when I started like plugging in my music. And pretty much everything you hear or everything that's been released up until this point was actually made under my previous project. Just like kind of like revamped a little bit, like retouched up. Everything from this track that I just released on has been made under the Bad Proxy project. So I'm extremely excited to kind of start putting out this more recent music. And I'm not sure if this is a good thing. I'm not sure if like other people do this, but the way I have been doing it is I've been releasing my tracks in sequential order of when they were made. So, hopefully, while going on this journey through this story, people are also kind of taking note that and seeing my growth, like as a producer, like on that side of things as well. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Dude, well, I want to take it back to, you're talking about like the art of storytelling and why, and you're right, because like, look at every like cartoon, anime, everything where they're like, I've never seen like the maker of any of these cartoons, but it started with that same thing from them. They had this story and this picture of like this art that they wanted to get out to the world. And then they pulled different people to get the animation. They pulled different people to voice the characters and different people to write the stories or to help write the stories and stuff. And like, look at all these incredible brands that we've seen that have been built. Like I was just talking about with a couple of my friends the other day about Pokemon and how this guy, the maker of Pokemon, like lives on this compound where he's like a recluse. So like no one can get to him. And he has like separate houses around the outside of his compound where like plumbers and electricians and all these people come in and they never contact him, but they do what they need to do. And like the funnier part was when we looked up his net worth and it said like 10 million. And we're like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Like, it's fucking Pokemon. It's more like 10 billion at the least. Like, but to bring it back to what your branding and everything, like it's been so cool. Like, I don't want to give too much away of what I've seen and heard over the past, year and a half or so, but like, it's been amazing to watch this like come to fruition. And here's the beautiful part about it. Like how our relationship started was like this open, beautiful conversation that we had where you were open about your past and it gave me the courage to be open about my past through the internet. And
right,
like I went through this process where I was like not willing to talk about it because I didn't want praise for it, because I didn't feel like it deserved praise, but I also didn't want backlash in case anything happened. Right. Like I was in this like in between stage, and you gave me the courage to just be like, look, like first off, I shouldn't care what anybody else thinks about it. Right. Like it doesn't matter. I shouldn't be like care about the praise or the backlash, like I should just know that I'm on my journey and doing, what is ego means I am in Latin. Like it's not I am Ryan Janni or it's just I am. So everything that I've ever done encapsulates that. And I can't have the good without the bad. I can't have the dark without the light, the yin yang, all this stuff. And you gave me the courage to just put it all out there. And then from that, like our conversations are very much about like the ups and downs of what we're going through.
Dude, I'll always, you're like my mental coach, dude. Like I'll like call you when like I've had a shitty day at work and you'll be like, well, did you? And I'll be like, I don't know. Did I? Fuck, man, you're good.
It's so cool, man. Cause like I see, and I know about all the things you go through in your real life and the ups and downs. And like, we're having this podcast because you kept riding no matter what. You kept riding the roller coaster. And now we're at this point where it's like, God, like it's all coming to fruition. It's beautiful, man. I'm so freaking happy for you, man. That's what this is all about, man. Like, you had a vision, and no matter what happened, you just kept going. Like, you had to. That's why, man, I just had this conversation with another friend of mine. Like, it's discipline versus motivation, right? Because at that time when this, idea came to you, like, you were like, all right, yeah, I'm really motivated to do this because I'd have this great idea. But like, the times where it got hard and the things that were happening in your life, like, you had the discipline to keep doing it no matter what.
Yeah, and I mean, on a weekly basis, I will have a mental breakdown saying, like, am I completely wasting my time and money on all this expensive, digital marketing and all this, crazy, aesthetic and all this stuff. Like, on a weekly basis, I'll be like, am I crazy? Like, but then I'm like, and then something cool happens. Like, I get, a track signed by, Bear Grillz and Rude Service. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not crazy. And then the next day I get an email back from a label. They're like, sorry, we're going to pass. And
and there's the up and down, right there. Like, I mean,
you can't see, but I'm smiling.
Yeah. I can see it in your eyes. Eyes. No, it's cool because, like, I'm this whole time, the main thing that we've talked about whenever you're like on the downswing is just like, dude, it's gonna happen. Like, you're manifesting it. And like, all those talks, all those late night, drive home talks, and sending me your music, and me being like, yo, like, it's late. I don't know if I can listen to this, but in the morning, I'll jump out of bed and fucking. It's been such a cool journey, man. And, we have many other things outside of here that we've done together, and outside of the music industry, and then
crazy ideas.
And you've helped me grow so much, and not just as like an artist and looking at your branding and all this stuff and giving me, incredible ideas, but as a person, because every time I've ever spoken to you about like a hard time that you've gone through or a great time that you're going through, like, I learned from that. Because the what is it? I forget the exact quote, but like, God is a mirror. The universe is a mirror. Like, everything you're going through, I've either been through or am going to go through. And like, I can see you going through it and get like the roadmap of how to get through it. Or I see you go through it and I'm like, I've been through that. And this is, how it affected me and what I did. And that's why having a relationship like this with another man is so important. Like, so many people are so afraid to talk about like their feelings and what they're going through, and they just bottle it up. And this quote keeps coming up that most men live lives of quiet desperation. And I'm just grateful that I have someone in my life that I know I can talk to about anything, and there's no judgment. Like, you're one of the very, very few people that when I talk about these things, like, I know there's going to be no judgment, and that is really hard to come by. And I'm forever grateful for that, man. And to be able to see you, you know, really everything coming together and you know, getting to this picture of, you know, what success may look like on the outside. Like I see it happening on the inside for you too, man. It's beautiful, man.
It's funny because, like, you know, occasionally I'll get like the DM, like, hey man, like, you know, your branding's super cool. Like, oh, thank you. Like, you know, ask me X, Y, and Z questions. And I'll be like, you know what, honestly, if I had the answer, like, of course, like, I'm an open book. I tell people that all the time, and I'll tell them, you know, everything. I'll write them an essay, and like, oh, thank you. But if they're like asking me a question, I'll be like, you know, honestly, I don't know. Like, I have no clue what I'm doing. I literally have no clue what I'm doing. If I get there, I'll let you know. But at this current moment in time, I am like, people are always like, are you managed? No, I'm not really managed. You know, do you have a booking agent? No, I don't have a booking agent. I'm doing all this myself. And people are like, what? Like, how are you affording all this? How are you like doing all these things? And I don't know. If I have the answer, like, I'll let you know. Like, dude, I am like, day by day, I'm like trying to figure it out myself, because that's all I've been doing for the last, you know, X amount of years while trying to do this whole music thing. Like, there's nobody has, you know, occasionally I've had like, you know, a production lesson or two from some bigger guys that I look up to. And I always like to, you know, learn as much as I can from whoever, because I've never, like, you know, I didn't go to school for this. I didn't, you know, I'm YouTube taught. And, you know, most of the time when it comes to like management questions, or like, you know, booking questions or marketing questions, I, you know, will give people as much information as I have, but most of the time the answer is, I literally have no clue what I'm doing.
Well, and that's the humility, right? Like you're not the one that's like, this is how I'm doing it, and this is the right way to do it. And like, I don't think you would be able to.
I'll tell you what I've done and what's worked for me, but it could have all just been luck. I don't know, you know. Like, I have no data to back it up. Right? This isn't some like proven thing that works. Like, I'm taking it day by day. I've written X amount of chapters for the story, and everything after that, as soon as I get to those chapters, like, I'm just going to start making it up. That's what I did for all these other chapters. Like, that's the beauty of it. Like, if I want to like take them to like a different dimension, I can do that. If I want to introduce more characters, I can do that. You know?
Hell yeah. And that's I think a great segue to, because it's not only your first soundtrack, but this is the first collab that Bad Proxy's releasing, right? So like,
not only first collab, but first track with vocals on it.
So let's get into talking about this track and how this track specifically happened, because I know your relationship with. I almost said his real name, but I don't think he minds. Yeah. So Elysian is a great friend of ours, and I wanna let you kind of explain how this song like came to fruition.
So I was about to start talking. I almost said his real name too, although I don't think he cares. Elysian. Yeah. I reached out to him. So first and foremost, a little backstory. Not to toot my own horn, but me and my friend, we actually gave him the name Elysian, and we gave him a little bit of a brand to work off of. And he's done some cool things. He signed with Airwaves. He's signed with Frequencies. He has another track signed with Root Service. So he's doing pretty well with the brand. Super excited. Although he always calls me and he's like, dude, I think I'm going to rebrand. I'm freaking out. I don't know if this is working. And I'm like, dude, I've been there. But he always stays true. And I think he's building some great momentum. So he's been, working with some people, getting his sound right. And he messaged me a song, and it was kind of like the first drop. And And then the first drop kind of copied over to the second half just to, make it have the track there. Yeah. And he sent it to me and he said, what do you think? Give me some feedback. And I was like, I think you need to send this to me right now because I've got cool ideas. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah, shoot it over. And within, I kid you not, within, I'd say about 3 days, the instrumental was done. Like it just like, as soon as I got it, I kind of like, as you can tell from hearing the song, you'll be able to tell. I kind of made some edits on the first drop a little bit, but I really came in. I did a breakdown on the second half, and then that's kind of where I come in. It's like, you can definitely hear it. Like okay, this is ELYS and this is BAD PROXY. And then I took over the second drop while using a lot of his elements on the first drop. And I think we came up with a really cool kind of future bass, industrial, heavy bass kind of mix. And I think it's really cool to kind of see the first drop and the second drop instead of like having, the track be kind of like a collab start to finish. Which would also be cool. And maybe we can do that sometime in the future, but this is kind of the way it worked out perfectly. Like I said, the instrumental was done in 4 days at most. It may have been even sooner. And then we were like, okay, well, it definitely needs a vocalist. So, I was scrolling through Twitter. I found this girl and I messaged her and we got in contact with her management. And then she came on and she wrote beautiful lyrics. Her name's MJXO. And she sent us the stems and we went to town on the stems for a bit. And I ended up doing something I've never done before, and that's vocal chop, because I've never even worked with Vocalist before. And I think it came out pretty cool. So I'm excited about that. And then, it was done. We had a little bit of a hiccup, kind of getting the stems. I think there were some issues wherever she was recording. So it took us a second to get the stems, but as soon as we got the stems, we got it buttoned up, mixed and mastered. And then we sent it off to Bear Grillz. And within, I'd say, an hour and a half, he emailed me back saying, I'm sending this over to our head A&R, Chris. He's going to take a look at it. And then Chris emailed me back saying, okay, this is dope. We'll sign it to our Valentine's Day compilation, Full Stack, Volume 5, I think it is. And it all happened with within a couple of days. And we were all super excited. I love that I got signed on room service because I had written down on my notepad like 20 times, like, this track's getting signed to room service. So then the next day I got signed to room service. Manifestation is real, let me tell you. But so that's kind of the story about like how it kind of culminated and came to be. It honestly like was great chemistry. It just kind of like flowed out of everyone. There was no walls hit or things that we had to overcome, which is the best. I mean, it was a supernatural collab, which is always kind of like, the best when everyone's excited to work on it. And instead of hitting someone up like, hey, let's collab. And you're like, I don't know. It was kind of like a group effort and everyone came together. And
how did you find the vocalist and take me through that process? Cause that, I know a lot of artists that they make music by themselves for a long time and they, and they find other producers to collab with, but to get a vocalist is like, it's a leg over here that is also like not really taught. So can you take me through that whole process?
Well, this being my first vocalist I've ever worked with, was, kind of a learning experience for me too. But I had been following this girl on Twitter for quite some time now, prior to the release, and she always posts kind of little snippets of her singing. And I, as soon as we were done with the instrumental, I was like, all right, we need to ask this girl because her voice is perfect, and she's a great songwriter as well. So I had, DM'd her on Twitter, and she ended up, responding, sending me her manager's contact information. And, we kind of took it from there. I know Janni
Who cares?
I know Elysian.
We love you, dude.
I know Elysian has worked with, a plethora of vocalists, one being Maggie York, who's, doing crazy things right now. I think they even have like a little bit of a, Instagram live podcast that they do called Tea Time. Go check it out.
Oh yeah.
So he just kind of, gave me some advice, and, we ended up reaching out to her and getting everything set up through her manager. It was super, super easy, super simple. I say, any advice, I'd say just, go through social media, and even more so, look at some of the artists that you really like, look at who they're collabing with, who their vocalists are, and try looking them up. Some of them have, millions of followers. Some of them don't. And even the ones with 1 million followers, if they like the track, they'll sing on it. That actually just happened with Elysian. He's got a track coming out with a crazy vocalist who did a track with Millennium. I won't say any names, but it's very cool.
Man, I have one name in mind that I'm immediately texting Elysian after this. Dude, I'm happy you brought up just being able to reach out through social media, because like there's so much I can say about, the negative impact that social media has had, but like the amount of positive relationships that I've been able to form because of it is mind-blowing to me. Like our relationship, everyone that I've ever, talked to through Aftershock and everyone that I've met through Cosmic Academy, like all these incredible artists. And then you have all these people that I've met just in the scene in Philly. Like a lot of the relationships started on social media, and I know it's always given me the opportunity to support, especially people in other cities, in a way that like I'm not going to be able to fly out to Chicago and go to their shows. I'm not going to be able to fly to to Florida and help them out with their in some sort of way, other than being able to like comment and share their stuff with other people, and then when they come out with a signed track, actually being able to friggin' buy it and shit. Like that's little things like that, like help an artist so much, and because those are the things that like I know I'm really grateful for when people are helping me out. Like I see the people who are constantly liking and commenting on my stuff, who are constantly checking out my stories, and I know who's actually supporting me on social media. Like I also know that
talking about like commenting and liking, like it means, and everybody does this, but it means more to me when I see someone doing it constantly and I don't even have to like ask them about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody sends out their stuff like, hey, drop a like, drop a comment. But if you see my post and you like and you comment without me even having to say anything, which I've tried to stop doing, I will 110%, return that respect and support. You know what I mean?
It's just, what you put out,
you get back tenfold.
Yeah. Like people, I know he'll lose it for getting a mention on here, but Stu, I freaking love Pika Stu so freaking much. That guy is so, he just oozes out love, dude. He's such a good guy, and I'm really happy that and shout out to Mandy, who had the going away party that I met him at. Like that was the first time that I met him, and we started our first conversation was just started because We were talking about lifting, right? Like,
Right.
he's freaking yoked.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He comes over here sometimes, and I try to teach him as much as I can. He's been trying to get into producing.
Yeah,
trying to drop all my branding knowledge on him, just because, like you said, he is a kind soul.
hell yeah, man. So with the Bad Proxy project, like, we're not just seeing the songs come out and the stories written. Like, you have this incredible team called the Hyphen that are doing animation that I didn't know was like possible. And this team is bringing together your vision, like, literally, like, it's just incredible, man. I'm blown away every time you send me something, every time you post something. Because I know I've seen people work in After Effects, I've seen people work in animation and Premiere and Final Cut Pro and all these different, like, and I've tried myself to do some things like this, like, never on that level. Like, that stuff is so hard, not just to do, but to learn how to do. Like, these guys.
And even then, they'll be done with the project, right? And like for example, the Splitting Worlds video was done like 5 days ago, but I'm pretty sure it's still rendering.
Yeah.
The amount of time and computer space and like CPU and all this, that it takes to finalize the video after like everything's done, said and done, is mind blowing to me. But yes, like, talking about the Hyphen, they have become, part of my family and me theirs. Like, I met them through social media again, a couple of years ago when I was under my previous alias, they did a album cover for me, and I, was absolutely obsessed with it. And they were just two really, really cool dudes. And I hit them up, while I started cultivating this new project idea. And I was like, guys, I've got this kind of crazy idea. What would you say if I told you I was trying to create like an entire world? And they were like, oh, they were super interested. And we set up a Zoom call. We got like a Zoom call, every once. It was like kind of once a week, and it's kind of turned into once a month now, just because things are kind of, going smooth right now. But, I called them and I told them, I started reading them the script and, telling them my ideas. And for every video, I send them like a, storyboarded email, kind of this shot, send them like reference photos of like how I want things to look. And it's really like it really is like a team effort, and I say this all the time. I've said it on my page. I've said it on, all my socials. This project wouldn't be a project without them. Like, they're equally, and I've told this to them too, they're equally a part of this project as I am, because it wouldn't have the same effect if I didn't have this content, because it's built around this digital world. So I need this digital world to be, to come to fruition. And so it's tangible. So like people can see it and hopefully eventually experience it firsthand. Like, in the future, I'm trying to go virtual reality type stuff, but that's a story for a different time. But to like kind of immersive experience. But yeah, so, and they've been through a lot. They're all the way out in India. During COVID, it was really rough over there. I lost contact with them for a few months, or like for a month, and I was, super worried about them. I would, try to message them every day, and that ended up kind of making us. They went through a bunch, of personal issues during that time, and that kind of really, made us closer. I was like, look, guys, you guys are like my family. Like, you know, you guys are just a part of this project as I am. And so they are on a retainer that I pay them, you know, per track, basically per month. And they have goals just as much as I have goals, you know, like their goals are to scale their business and you know, be fully sustaining, and they're building their business too. They've got a couple new people on their team. And they're kind of moving out and spreading out and hopefully getting, you know, more established kind of home base here in the near future. And I'm, you know, more than happy to pay them, you know, what their asking price, because I know, and it's, you know, it's a decent chunk of change, but I know that I'm investing in myself, I'm investing in them. And, you know, hopefully it all, you know, pays out, which I know it will, because, you know, every time I'm down or every time they're down, we're messaging each other. Like, you know, did you think we'd be here in this position at this current moment in time? You know, or, you know, we're going to keep our heads down. We're going to keep grinding. We're going to keep on making this content, and hopefully it gains momentum. But yeah, so
it is.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, like I said, they're like become my family. I love them to death. They're great guys. And it's crazy because in the last week alone, I've had 3 people hit me up saying, yo, I'm going to reach out to your guys, and them actually doing work for these people as well. So it's cool to see that I'm kind of helping to kind of, you know, get them some more commissions and other stuff like that. Although in the near future, I think I'm going to have to potentially, you know, when I ultimately make this BAD PROXY project official by creating like an LLC or what have you, to kind of make it more into a business, I might have to get them to sign a non-compete clause, because at least in like the mid-tempo industrial space, because like these are my ace in the hole, you know. They're my guys. So, you know, I can't be giving out all the trade secrets.
Right. And this branding is very specific to you. We don't want them to take it and start using the templates for other people. No. I'm so happy that you found, you know, this team to help you create this vision that you've had, man. It's been so cool to watch, and every video they put out for your music is, you know, just as insane as the music that you're making.
What's crazy is, like, if you read some of the stuff that I've sent them, it makes absolutely zero sense. It's so outlandish, it's so crazy, but somehow they nail it every time. Like, it's exactly how I like pictured it looking. And
that's such a funny, you know, because in you know,
like, it's like we're on the same wavelength. Like, it's like they can see into my mind, which is like why I think it's so crazy, because literally every video, like, I'll give them like 10 bullet points of a storyboard, and it's like spot on. And I'm like blown away every time. It's like a little present every month when they send me that video. I'm like, damn, this is cool.
So have you been able to talk to them sort of about their process? I mean, like they get they're coming out. So it's like because it's one song a month type of thing. So like one big, you know, animated short for each song. Like they
Get some water.
Tricky guy. Gotta stay on brand.
Yeah.
No, but have you their like whole process and the stuff that they use, like, what do you know about, you know, the stages that they have to go through?
They use just off the top of my head, Octane, Blender, Cinema 4D. 3 programs I know little to nothing about. But I know, for some of the stuff, I'll buy models off like pre-made stuff, and they'll kind of edit the colors and edit to be more like the vibe of but for the most part, they build everything from the ground up using Octane and Blender, and then using the animation, I think Cinema 4D. I'm not sure. I could be totally butchering this, but that's kind of the process. And then after the video's done, they'll like post-process it with like the lighting, the colors, the shading, the shadows, and the lasers and all the special effects. So that's kind of like what I know. That's like the bare minimum.
Right. I gotta get them on here. See if we can. Yeah.
They're like 2 of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. Seriously.
I mean, I have so much respect for them, and I've never had a conversation with them. Like just seeing their work, I would love to get inside their heads because they're just as much artists as any of us. Like,
absolutely. Some of the stuff they make is crazy.
Like, I'm so blown away that I'm like, I don't even want to call myself an artist compared to them. You know what I mean?
Like I can draw a stick figure.
It fucking blows my mind, the shit that they're doing, man. That stuff, because it's like, it's so far out of the realm of what I thought was possible, because like what they're doing is equivalent to like, and even more detailed than like Transformers cartoons, like I don't see.
It's like making a video game, like League of Legends or like something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so,
or like Halo. It's like they're basically making like a Halo video game.
Yeah, and I don't know. I can't wait till the Bad Proxy Octavia 7.7 core video game comes out.
That's definitely a goal at some point.
Hell yeah, man!
First person VR shooter.
That's like the cool thing about this. Like, there's no end to the possibilities of, now that you have the music and the animations, to back it up. You've created this world where you have so many possibilities. And I know you have so many ideas because we've talked about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, dude, from the start of this, like, one of the biggest things I wanted to do was like to create like a set of like comic book issues, like first edition, second edition, and like having the full animation, like the full 9 yards. Another thing was like either like an animated or like live action, like YouTube series or something like that. And then, video games, VR, meta, the metaverse, NFTs. Possibilities are truly endless. Plush dolls of like
I was gonna say Squishmallows.
Pops, like the little like Funko Pops.
Yeah.
Like the possibilities are truly endless, which I think is the coolest part of the story-based brand, and like kind of the way I've gone about creating it. Hell
yeah, man. I better get one of them first editions. That's all I'm saying.
I better get a first edition. Yeah. It's gonna go right there.
Dude, and it's already mapped out in chapters, that.
Yeah, that's kind of why I did it. That's kind of why I did it. And I have this Google Doc that's like titled script, and it's literally like everything, every caption, every piece of art content, it's all derived from like this Bible, if you will, like that I've created. And it's kind of like the backbone, although it will never be released, and no one's ever going to see it. It's like the, table of contents for like everything that's being put out into the world. And like when I have time, I'll like go in and I'll like add more chapters. Like I was on a flight the other day, and I like pulled out my own notepad and I started like typing away because I didn't have headphones, so I couldn't listen to music. and I like came up with like 2 more chapters. And as soon as I got home, I like copy pasted it into like the script. So it's like, it's cool that like it can be ever evolving and ever changing. And like, for example, like the collab that's about to come out, it's coming out on the label. Yes. But if you've read some of my captions, it's the story's kind of arching in a direction that there's more planets out, or more micro dimensions within this, reality that Eon's created. And one of those, dimensions, and he's getting a distress signal from this planet called Elysian. So it's like, I'm slowly like kind of introducing these new characters, which are going to appear in next month with this new release. Although it's not going to have a full length video, I definitely want to have like, a teaser, like a little graphic or something, because the reason why it's not going to have a full length video is because it's a label release. So they're kind of handling all the marketing. So I thought I'd be able to recoup some type of, costs on, spending more than I need to. And then us being able to get ahead on next month's, on April or, March's content. So, before all this thing started, I had 3 months of content already ready to go. And as those 3 months progressed, we've kind of been playing a little bit of catch up. So it will be nice kind of February to get, maybe get ahead a little bit again. So the, brand arch here, or like the story arc here, is like introducing these new characters into the story, and the fact that there is more people that can be added into the story. And
hell yeah. So
both the vocalist and, the collaborating artist are going to have their own characters. And that's kind of one thing that I have told myself from the beginning. Like, if I ever collab with someone, either A, we're going to do like a story arc and like tell a new story, like a side story, like a side quest or something, and give that person that's collaborating with me an avatar and write them into the story. And or if they have a similar type of brand, which some artists that I'm collaborating with now do, we are kind of like interweaving our brands for a like crossover type idea, kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
We're having these 2 characters meet and like, kind of deriving a quick side story around it for like, and then, if later on in the future we end up collaborating again, they're already like, we already have the content or the characters to like, do another, story arc or something like crossover or something like that. So that's kind of like what I was most excited about and like really drawn to about this idea, is that I could do like these story arcs and crossovers that I could like derive, split paths from like the original plan and like kind of come back and meet it at some point. Like this track that I just released, Splitting Worlds, is kind of building up for this little pause of like adding these new characters. But then I've also set up so that when it, for March's track, it kind of meets back perfectly. And at the end of the video that you're going to see for Splitting Worlds, there's going to be like a little post-credit scene with like a bunch of different artists that I'm collabing with, kind of like an Easter egg in there. So like,
hell yeah,
like keep out for that, like keep a lookout for that.
That's gonna be freaking sick. And instead of the MCU, it's the ECU, it's the Electronic Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, the ECU or the PCU, Proxy Cinematic Universe.
Yes.
Proxyverse.
Dude,
how it's come to be referred to these days.
And if that's not like a direct, what's a direct like parallel to like real life and shit, man. That's the coolest part about your branding, is like this is why things like Star Wars and things like Marvel and things like all these different things, they have such parallels to what we conceive to be like our real reality, right? Like you have you have Bad Proxy and you have Eon, and you have this universe where it's like you have this one being that is, and then you have the being that you're creating and turning into. Like, if that's not a freaking what's it called?
A metaphor.
If that's not a metaphor for like reincarnation and like and becoming like even just like becoming an adult, or becoming like not like turning into a person that you're not, but like to actually just growing as a human being, for like the possibilities that you can do. And then the fact that there's, other worlds and stuff. It's like, it's just the other dimensions and other things that like people, not everyone knows about or even believes in, like the other dimensions and stuff, but like the stuff that is possible. Like first off, just we live in the third dimension, but that's hard to explain to someone, because it's just height, width and depth, and how we perceive this. Like it's just like, that's what 3D is. Like that's actually what this is. It's not just like when you go and see a 3D movie, like, you know what I mean? Like and you're creating this universe where you're able to jump to another person's world and bring them in. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy type shit, like it's so freaking cool to see. And
I thought like another interesting thing was like, it's not all digital, right? So we have like the digital side of it, but we also have like this side of it where like Proxy is. And like, that's one of my favorite parts, is that like, not only do I have this like digital brand where like there's this whole digital world and they're doing their own thing, but I've also tried to like incorporate, me as a character in the story, not just me as in like Bad Proxy and like I'm a producer, but like me as in like part of the story, which like in the last video that I released, I actually am in the video, like as like a cameo for like a brief second, but I will play a bigger role within the digital world kind of later on, and how I have this like ability to transfer through worlds, and the ultimate goal being like Eon's trying to create the perfect world so he can like merge our world, his world. That's kind of like one of my favorite parts, is that like I'm also playing a character in this story, and my character, has the ability to be here while his can't, because like he's digital and he can't, not yet at least.
Yeah. and you're trying to create a new universe and merge the worlds,
or just like siphoning data.
Yeah, not like Thanos, like in a good way.
Yeah. His intention, the way I always thought of it, like his intentions are pure, but he's almost like a anti-hero. He's not all hero. He's like anti-hero.
Yeah, because he's dark.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's like Deadpool is an anti-hero. Like he's got all the superpowers and stuff. It's very dark. Like even his name Deadpool is like, because that's betting on who's gonna die first. Like that's what that means. Like, and he like, I don't know if he can die, but he like can't get hurt. So like it's all these different things that you're doing. You're putting your spin on all these different ideas and really, really making it your own. It's just been so cool to watch, man. I can't say it enough. Like I've been blown away by seeing your ideas come to fruition, man. It's so cool. It's so cool, man. And I'm so freaking proud of you.
Thank you.
Well, it's been about an hour, and I just, I went on my heart came out and I just spilled it and said how proud I was. So I think this is a good place to end it. Like I said, man, I'm so freaking proud of you. Now, before we end it, of course, tell us the name of the track, the artist, the date it comes out, all this stuff, how we can make sure we do not miss this first crucial, awesome, incredible signed release.
So the track is called Redemption. It comes out on February 1st, which is in a few days here. The pre-save link is in my bio. It's in ELYS's bio, and I believe it's in MJXO's bio. It is going to be a crazy, euphoric experience, very melodic and heavy bass driven. So definitely be sure to save that and be sure to, if you can, support on, Apple or Apple Music or Beatport, what have you. Everything would be greatly appreciated. You can follow me on badproxy.exe or Bad Proxy Music on Twitter.
Hell yeah, brother. All right. I love you, man. I'll talk to you in a little bit. And I'll see you next time I go out to the wonderful city that we share together, even though both of us also go other places.
We'll meet in the middle.
Yeah, we literally, it's like we go and then we're
yeah. All right, man. Much love. Thank you for having me. It's been a blessing.
Until next time, everybody. Peace.
See you guys.
Love, unity, and respect. We're out. Love you, fam.
Love you too, man.